And we are back with another episode of In the Moment. I'm your host, Jared Mao. Sorry for the hiatus there. I told you I was gonna be back and ended up being away a little bit longer than I intended to. Not that I didn't know what I wanted to post about or talk about or really anything like that. Life just got a little busy for me, and that's a really shit excuse. I don't try and use that excuse very often. So I'm going to try and be better. I'm going to try and post more. I'm going to try and be good about the content uploads. I'm going to try and take a little bit deeper dive in, my personal life and what it is that I do outside of being a chiropractor and a husband, and just talk about the things that I experience on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's really what's going to help me with the content creation, because, so far this channel doesn't really have a niche. It's not really anything specific that I'm focusing on. I like to talk about sports. I like video games. I like golf. I like talking about chiropractic. I love talking about my wife and our dog and my family. So, we'll cover all the topics. I think today what I really wanted to discuss, though, is I don't want to frame this because it's not necessarily that I'm talking about mental health specifically. Here's what it is. It's a little glimpse into how I feel. Not just like, oh, I feel happy, or oh, I'm sad or hungry or things like that. It's how does my brain operate? How does it operate when I'm stressed? How does it operate when I'm happy? How does it operate when I'm going through any component XYZ? I wanted to do a little dive into something that happened to me today at the gym. That's why I'm a little sweaty. Sorry for that. But when I was in the gym today, I had a really difficult workout. And when you have a really difficult workout, you get that come to Jesus moment. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. You go through a workout that you don't want to finish because it's really difficult. And you have to really have a good fight. And it's a good thing. It's a good battle to go through. But when you go through that too, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of conversation that you're having with your internal dialogue. And I had a really intense period of introspection today, and I I was overcome with a pretty strong sense of emotion today when I was in the middle of my workout. And, part of it's the music that I was switching it up to. I just couldn't get into a good groove today. So once I got done with my compound movements, I took a step back from the normal music that I'm listening to that makes me want to throw my head into some drywall or punch a hole into a brick. You get what I'm talking about. So I took a step in a different direction today, and when I was going through my accessory movements, I really had a strong wave of emotion come over me. And when I was sitting in the sauna, I had a really nice personal period of reflection. I got about 12 minutes in there just kind of, scrolling through some good music, sitting with my thoughts. And I'm not an emotional person. I'll say that. I'm not somebody that when I'm faced with stress or things of that nature that I will break down crying or have panic attacks. And that's not to say that there's anything bad about the way that people perceive stress and how people respond to stress. I'm not calling people crybabies or saying panic attacks are weak or anything like that. That's not where I'm coming from. I think what I'm saying is myself, I experience things so deeply, but it's not all the time. I like to think that I'm a relatively philosophical person. I'm always searching for a higher meaning, a higher purpose. What am I being called to do in this life? But I experience things incredibly deeply, even if I'm not good at expressing those emotions. Hannah Lene, I'm talking to you. I'm very sorry that I'm not better at expressing my emotions, but I'm working on it. Conscious note. But I do feel deeply. I feel very deeply. And I had one of those moments today, and I'm sitting. I put myself into these mental states myself. When I listen to certain artists like Michael Bublé or Jacob Collier or Daniel Caesar or any of those indie pop, classical blues artists, whatever it is that you want to call them, I think about the future and there are certain songs that I listen to, like Forever Now by Michael Bublé, turns me into a puddle. It's the song that my mom and I danced to at our wedding. It is a song that makes me think about my future children. And it just it explodes my heart, and it just makes me feel so deeply. So that's kind of what happens to me sometimes. I'm sure that it happens to some of you as well. But, as a man, we've been hardwired to, push through emotion. You're not supposed to show emotion because it's a sign of weakness, blah, blah, blah. I think that's bullshit. I think you can be the toughest dude on the planet and you can still show emotion. I think it's a completely healthy mechanism for you to go through. Now, other people on here are going to say different. Other people are going to agree. Guess what? That's just me. That's my opinion. That's my 2 cents on it. But I think in the realm of feeling and expressing emotion, it hits me at the weirdest times. I don't know if anybody else goes through it. I wasn't in a particularly bad mental state today. I didn't wake up sad. I didn't wake up upset or angry. I slept pretty damn well last night. So I woke up feeling well rested. Hannah made coffee this morning. We sat and had a cup of coffee together. I watched some sports this morning, did some stuff for fantasy football. I had a great morning, and I get to the gym and I start busting my ass, and I go through a really physically fatiguing and mentally fatiguing workout. And I have this internal dialogue with myself where I'm bullying myself through the next lift, and I'm giving myself confidence for the next lift. I'm talking myself up. I'm talking myself down. It's all over the place. And then as soon as I got to my accessory work, I had this overwhelming sense of emotion just sweep me. And it caught me completely off guard. It was a curveball. But that's how I feel. I don't feel things superficially. There's such a deeper sense of I don't even know how I want to say this, man. I'm getting all tongue-tied trying to think of it. I tried recording this about 10 minutes ago, and I started crying on stream, so I deleted it because I was just sitting here quiet and just sobbing over myself. But it's a difficult thing to label, and I think it's part of the way that I grew up. I talk about my experience with therapy and how it was hit and miss. I'll be completely honest. I think that when I started therapy, I wasn't really sure what I was doing, wasn't sure how to talk. Nobody teaches people how to talk about their emotions either. So things can get kind of suppressed, bottled up. Maybe that's what's been going on. We just got back from vacation last Monday, and we did have a busy week. It was great. It was very physically tasking. It was awesome. I love that kind of stress because it makes me feel like we're growing and serving at a higher purpose. But labeling the emotion is so hard for me. You get the base ones. You get happy, sad, angry, all of these base emotions, but it's none of those things. It's like longing and angst for the future. It is just like a humbling. It's like the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. It's like that level of emotion. If you've ever seen the movie, it's delightful. It's not a delightful movie. It is a great movie. Delightful is not the word that I should use to describe it. But it's such a weird thing. Emotion is such an odd thing because it can just come at the weirdest times. And I think that's what I wanted to talk about today is just get that off my chest and show you I can seem like I have stuff put together. And then one day in the middle of my third set of barbell RDL on my way up, I'll just get hit by this wave oh my God, I wonder what my future children are going to think if I can't finish this set. Or I wonder what my future kids are going to do at their wedding day. If I'm dancing with my future daughter to Forever Now, it makes me so emotional thinking about that kind of stuff. And this is just a random video. There's no direction, no structure whatsoever to this video today, but I think it's really important that I was able to just kind of voice what I was going through today. It was a great day. It's been a great day. I get to go and have lunch. I get to take Boone on a walk, go shower, and get to the office. Great day. And yet still I had this moment, this little 20 to 30 minute period of time today where I was just a puddle and I don't understand it. I'm working on understanding it. And I think it's good that it's not me getting emotional because of stress. I think it's good that I'm getting emotional because of things that I value and care about and are looking forward to. That was a really good way for me to end this video, I think. But it's interesting. It's interesting the way that the brain works. It's interesting the way that your your values can dictate your emotion. Maybe it's because I'm having an internal conflict. I have no freaking idea. Stuff like that just comes up out of nowhere for me. And, music is all, this isn't the end of the video. I'll keep talking just a little bit more. Music is something that can pull that out of me really, really easily. Some people have that same feeling with relationship with their loved ones or their friends, or when they're cooking. Like, there are cathartic experiences that people have all the freaking time. Mine is music. Holy cow. I love music. And in fact, I don't think that there's been a day in my life where music has not been involved in some way, shape, or form, whether it's playing in the background, playing directly into my ear, I'm singing it, playing it on an instrument. Music is such a huge part of my life, and it is something that drives me emotionally so easily. Like, if I'm on, like, today, I was on my way to the gym, and I was listening to Suicide Boys. Self-inflicted. Bop. Absolute bop. And I'm screaming into the mic, so I'm sorry if this is going to jack up my audio. But the music that I listen to before going to the gym is to get myself in the headspace to be able to go and move heavyweight. That's how that goes. Hannah will listen to Usher and Taylor Swift and like upbeat pop music. She's not the metalhead. Like, I'll listen to Alice in Chains. I'll listen to Metallica. I'll listen to Suicide Boys. I'll listen to like grungy basement rock and put myself into like that dark mindset to be able to go in and execute at a high level. And then I can instantly pull myself out of that when Michael Bublé Forever Now comes on and I'm on the middle of my third set of barbell RDL and I'm on my way up, just, oh my God, my future daughter and I are going to dance to this song. It's stuff like that, man. Like, that is a beauty of music, and it's awesome that something like that can make people feel. That's so cool. That is what I kind of wanted to talk about. It's just how I express emotion, how emotion affects me, and how music can just either really drive my confidence and my motivation. It can make me feel on a deeper level and give me a sense of introspection. It can help me focus when I'm trying to study with lo-fi beats or classical music. It's everything. Music is everything. And it's such a cool thing to be able to say that you can get moved by something so freaking simple. That you can get moved by having a tough workout. That you can get moved by listening to music that makes you think about the future. That you can get moved by things that make you think of other people that are close to you, and how it just stimulates emotion. It's such a cool thing to me. And I don't understand how people can't have that same effect or that same impact. But that's just me. Everybody's different. Everybody perceives emotion differently. Everybody expresses emotion differently. There are different things that set other people off. Again, it's not that I was sad about anything. It's not that I was upset about anything. It's just certain music can just move me emotionally. And it's such a cool thing. And I think that's how I connect with myself and with people and with my surroundings the best, is through music. But it's emotion, right? And as a man, we've been programmed to not express emotion, and that is bullshit. Talk with your friends. Talk with your loved ones. More importantly, talk with yourself. Lock yourself in a room. Battle it out with your thoughts. But label the thoughts as they come. Not label the thoughts. Label the emotion. Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, is a beautiful book, and it talks about labeling the emotions that you're experiencing. So, today, middle of my set, I'm getting emotional listening to my Michael Bublé. Okay, am I sad? No. Am I upset? No. Am I angry? No. Am I happy? Yeah. Am I longing for something? Yes. What am I longing for? I can't wait for the day that my daughter and I, if I have a daughter, I can't wait for the day that I get to dance with my daughter at our wedding. Or at her wedding, not at our wedding. That would be weird. Slip of the tongue, do not clip that. At her wedding. It makes me feel such a deep sense of security and deep sense of love and passion, and it makes me want to do better. But you got to be able to label the emotion, especially if you're going to have these internal dialogues, because your auto-suggestion, your internal dialogue will dictate how you feel. It will dictate how you respond to stress. It will dictate where your future will take you. But you got to be able to express emotion. That's not an unmanly thing to do. In fact, I would argue that it's just as manly to be able to push yourself through an emotional state, find the strength to get out on the other side, and have a constructive response to it. There are going to be people on here that say, oh, this guy's just a baby. He's crying for no reason. Happens. Fuck it. It happens. I don't know why it happens, but it does. So here we are. We're having this conversation. A lot of you out there might agree with me. A lot of you might disagree with me, but I don't care. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like I've been on a tangent the whole time I've been in front of the mic. But I think that's where we'll end it off. So today, kind of all over the place, mainly about, how I express emotion, what makes me emotional, what drives my emotion. This was kind of a fun video. I feel better after doing this. But that's all we got for today. I got to go eat. It's the chicken and rice menu today. It's been a staple. Chicken and rice, beef and rice, salmon and rice. You all know what I'm talking about. We don't deviate very far here. We get those macronutrients and micronutrients in. But I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Listen to some music today. Listen to some music that makes you feel. Listen to something that makes you feel connected to the people around you. But thanks for letting me vent. I love you guys. This has been another episode of In the Moment with your host, Jared Mao.